Hello Game Makers, this is Game Maker Rob and welcome to the next entry in our RPG starter kit. This time round we have storylines and repeatable quests, and we also fix a few bugs that I've only just noticed. Let's get started. Okay, so at the end of the last episode we had a demon lord fight and we were able to kill him. We got the animation, but he still appears every time we re-enter the room. So we are going to tackle that, and the way we are going to do that is have a series of story points or story states using an enumerator. Inside the create event of obj init, we want two new things in the NPC region. We want a global.story variable. This is going to track the state of the story, and it's going to start at the beginning, and this enumerator actually should go before that, to be honest. There we go. So this enumerator is going to hold all the states of our story. So every time the story needs to change or something happens, we need an entry in here. So the story we've got at the moment is very small. We start the story, or we start the game even. We speak to an NPC. He's going to tell us the demon lord needs to die, and when he's dead, it's going to be set to this. How we are going to hide the demon lord is he's only going to be able to spawn when the story state is this one, demon lord needs to die, or to be more specific, he is going to be destroyed if the story state is anything other than this. We're going to make a script to make that work. It's going to be called SCR NPC check story points, and we're going to pass two variables to it, min point and max point. For the demon lord, they're both going to be the same. They're both going to be demon lord needs to die. So, and all this code is going to do is check if global.story is in between min point and max point. If it's not, then it's going to destroy the NPC. And this script is going to be called inside the create event. So we're going to do that now. Go into room world and our demon lord and the creation code, and this is all we need to do. So we're passing eStory.demonlord needs to die for both the min story point to appear and the max, and that's it. If we run the game now, he shouldn't be in the world because the story state is set to beginning, so he's not there. And if we change the story point to the second one, and run the game again, he should be in the world. And there he is. So that's how we're going to get rid of him. Just going to change this back now. So now we are going to create a quest manager object. The job of this object is every time there's a battle, it's going to get past the monster that we just fought, and it's going to check. It's going to have an array of, it's going to be the same size as the monster array, and it's going to check if it's going to have a few entries. It's going to be a number of monsters to kill, whether it's going to affect the story or not, whether to update the NPC's start and end text points, and that's how we're going to progress the text and the story point after these kind of battles. So I'm going to add the object now. So create a new object. I'm going to copy mine over from what I've already worked on. Quest manager. So obj quest underscore manager, and inside it, in the create event, I'm going to have this. So it's got its own enumerator. It needs to be persistent as well. So make sure it's persistent. And the enumerator it's going to have, like I said, number of monsters to kill, whether to advance a story point or not. If we don't want to advance a story point, then we're going to set it to -1. That's useful for things like repeatable quests, that kind of thing. NPC to change dialogue. That's the NPC ID. And then whether we want to change the starting point and end point of this NPC's text. That's what these are for. We're going to set them all to -1 to begin with for all the monsters that we have. Let me just change this to less than, and then put last in here as well. Once you've copied this down, well, let me just explain this first. So check quests. This is going to run inside the step event. If check quest is true, it's going to check this whole array. It's going to check the entry in the array for the monster we just fought to see if there is any monsters to kill. And if it is, it's going to decrease that value. Scratch that. We're just going to fill in the enumerator first so I can explain this bit better. So obj init, create event, monster stats, and under here we want last. There we go. So back inside quest manager, so we'll go to the step event so I can explain this a bit better. So after there's been a battle, the battle spawner is going to change this variable to true, and this block of code is going to run. Monster type just killed is basically global.spawn. That's what's going to be passed to our quest manager. The quest manager is going to check to see if there's any monsters to kill. So in the case of the Demon Lord, this is going to be set to 1. It's going to get reduced by 1, so this will equal 0. So it's going to check to see if the number to kill is 0. If it is, then the rest of this script is going to run, or the rest of the code is going to run. We're going to create some variables because it's a lot easier on the eye to use these names rather than these names. So this is just the entries for the quest array. So we're going to check to see if we update the story. If we do, then global.story is going to become the new story point update. So in the case of the Demon Lord, it's going to be set to Demon Lord is dead. And also it's going to check to see if we need to update the start and end point of the NPC text, which is what this is going to do. In the example I'm going to show you, we're going to change we're going to have a story update and we're going to have an NPC text update as well. And after we've done all this, we need to clear the quest from that particular monster entry and change the boolean back to false. That's it. And to create the quest manager, rather than place the object manually, we're going to go into the create event of obj init, and anywhere's fine. I'm going to do it just before we change rooms. I'm going to say instance create layer, and then we want 0, 0. Any coordinates are fine. We're not going to see it at all. And then the same layer as obj init, and we want obj quest manager. There we go. And the last thing we need to do for the quest manager is go into our battle spawn object and let's find battle over state. Here we go. So just before we reset the global spawn, we're going to put this code in. We're basically going to tell the quest object to check its array. So with object quest manager, we're going to set its variable monster type just killed to global spawn and check quests to true. Why are we using this variable rather than just a global spawn? I don't know. I just decided to do that. There we go. So now that we've got that in place, we need to have an NPC to give us the story, and we're going to have some new things in the create event of obj init for that. First of all, we're going to add story dude to the NPC ID enumerator list. We're also going to have 2 more special characters. We're only going to worry about this one for now. So basically, / is going to update the story to a new story point. Whatever number comes after it is what the new story point is going to be. I am taking into account that you're going to want more than 10 story points. So when we come to the player talking region, I'll explain to you how we are going to deal with double, triple, quadruple digits, that kind of thing. So no matter how many story points you have, the code is going to be the same. These 3 lines of text are the new text for the story dude. This line here, we're going to change the story point. So rather than just typing 1 or 2, we're going to be adding the string of the enumerator, because enumerators are just numbers at the end of the day, and it's a lot clearer and easier to use if we use the enumerators rather than numbers, because it's clear to us what story point we're going to be moving the story to, because it says Demon Lord needs to die. But if we have just like a 0 or a 5, well, what story point is that? I don't know. So that's why I'm doing it this way. And last of all, we need to give him a start and end point for his text, which is just 0 and 1. Once he gets to 1, he's going to get set to 2 and 2 anyway. So one more thing to do is, well, there's a few more things, but for the next thing we need to do is in the village, make a new NPC, and in his creation code, give him the story dude NPC ID, like that. And the last thing we're going to do before we test it is in obj player step event, we're in the talking region, and we're looking at new story point. So like I said before, we need to account for double or triple digits, because you can have more than 9 or 10 story points in an RPG. So what this for loop is going to do is, well, first of all, when we get to the / in the text, we're going to start the for loop from the next character in the text after that, because it should be a number. So start car should be a number. End car is going to be the whole length of the text, because this is probably going to be the last thing on the text. It doesn't have to be, but because it'll break if it's not a digit. But in general, I'm expecting it to be like that. Although when we do come to updating the quest is going to be tacked onto the same line. So this isn't going to be at the end. So this code should work no matter where you put the / and the number. Okay, so anyway, I've explained these 2 variables. Digit string is just going to be a string of all the digits that come after the / until there are no more digits. If it's any character but a digit, then the for loop is going to break. So for var letter equals start character, letter is less than or equal to end character, letter ++. We're grabbing the next character of the string. What this line is doing is basically checking whether that character from the string is a number, and we're going to be using odd to check the string. I don't know if you guys have heard of Unicode, but every character on a keyboard has its own Unicode number, and 0, the Unicode for 0 is 0030, and for 9 is like 0030. 0039, I think. Is that right? I'm not sure. But it's on this list anyway. So yeah, 0030 for 0 and 0039 for 9. If you want to find that list yourself, just middle mouse click on ORD and left click on where it says UTF-8, and all the Unicodes will be shown here. It's really useful for when you want to do things with strings. It's been helpful to me anyway. So back to the code. If the ORD of string is greater than or equal to 0, and it's also less than or equal to 9, then we know it's either going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Then we're going to add that letter to digit string. It's going to be a digit. If str is ever anything other than a digit, like I said, it's going to break. It's going to break out this for loop. So once we've broken out of it, or we've gotten to the end of text to check, global.story is going to be the real of digit string. So if digit string is 12, a 1 and a 2, then global story is going to equal 12. The last thing we need to do is make sure we are removing all of the numbers and the / from the string. So cars to remove, characters to remove equals the string length of digit string. So if it's 12, that'll be 2 plus 1, because we need to take into account the /. So cars to remove will be 3, text to check equals string delete, text to check, cars to remove. So basically the last 3 letters or characters of the string will get removed. And that's it. So if we now run the game, we're going to talk to our new NPC. Or first, actually, let's go outside. So the Demon Lord is nowhere to be seen. So we'll go back up and talk to our new NPC story guy. Hey, there's a red guy outside the village and I don't like him. Can you go kill him, please? Let me know when you do. So all he's going to say to us now is let me know when you do. If I go back outside now, the Demon Lord's there. So that's how we're going to be approaching quests from now on. Okay, so now we are actually going to get the rest of this done. Back into obj init first of all. I've made a small change to the story dude's text. So I've added this line. So after we kill the Demon Lord, he's going to say this. And I've added basically this line of text, well this text to the first line, because on the same line that we changed the story point to go and kill the Demon Lord, we want to assign the quest as well. Let me explain about the syntax for the quests. So when we pass, or when we want to create a quest to kill, a Demon Lord, 10 slimes, whatever it is, we're going to do it in the same syntax every single time. Going to first of all have the less than arrow, and then an underscore like this, and then we're going to put a number. It's going to be the monster to kill, or the way that I prefer to do it is like this. I've made a string of monster type .demon king. It's always better to use the enumerators rather than just typing a number, because if you ever change the order of the enumerators, if you add or remove monsters from it, your number 2 that used to mean a blue slime doesn't mean that anymore. It means a green frog, and it's going to mess you up. So I would always recommend using enumerators. It's a bit lengthier. It's a lot easier to just type this, like 2 underscore 1 underscore 11, etc. But these numbers are meaningless. If you come back to it in a month, this is always going to tell let you know exactly what should happen. So anyway, the first number is going to be monster to kill, then another underscore, and then the number of the monster to kill. So for the Demon Lord, it's going to be 1, then another underscore, and then whether we want to advance the story to a point or not. For quests like repeatable ones or things that don't affect the main story, just have this as -1. Then we want another underscore and the NPC ID. So for this, it's going to be story dude. So that's where this bit comes in. And then whether we want to change the start point and end point. So if you don't want to change the start point and end point of the text, just set it as -1. For this guy, for this quest, his story point is going to be set to 3 and 3. So after the quest is complete, when we go and speak to Story Dude again, then we're only going to see this line. We could always give him like a line between that, and then give him some money. But the way I have this set up right now, there's no quest reward. But you can just do something like this. Just have another line as 3, and then change it to 4. You guys know what I mean. If that's not clear, please let me know. But I'm pretty sure you're intelligent enough to figure that one out yourself, considering we've already got an example of it. Okay, so now that we've done that, we are going to finish off the talking region for the player. It's quite lengthy. I'll try and explain it the best we go. It's worth bearing in mind that it's basically a longer version of this, because we need to check for multiple digits. It's the same basic code, but just a little bit more advanced or extra. So here we go. So don't need this. That comes at the end. So if it's a less than character, we've got the syntax there to remind ourselves what should happen. We're going to create a blank quest array so we can transfer it to the quest manager if needed, because say we've already got a quest to kill 5 slimes from someone, and then we talk to another guy that says kill 5 slimes. We only want to be having the first quest. So if you do have more than one person giving out quests to kill slimes, then you may have an issue there. But in general, as long as you have different NPCs giving out different quests to kill different monsters, this will work perfectly. So what this array is going to hold is the same information as this array. So it's going to have a slot for number to kill, a slot for the story point, a slot for the NPC ID, and a slot for the start and end point of the NPC's dialogue to what we want to change it to after the quest is complete. That's what that array is for. Again, we're going to have a for loop in this bit here. So we want to skip these 2 letters. So the start car is car +2. End car is the end of the whole string, as before. Digit string is going to hold our numbers. Cars to remove. We're going to be updating this inside the for loop. So every time we add an entry here, it's going to be set numbers. We're going to add the link of the string to cars to remove, as well as the underscores. It starts at 2 because of this. And quest array entry, we're going to be using this to fill in the entry points for the blank quest. But if you notice, this array is only a 1D array. So, and the array in the quest manager is a 2D array. So the first thing we're going to find out is which monster the blank array is going to be for. That's why back to it. That's why quest array entry is going to start at -1, because in our first loop of the for loop, the numbers are going to be the ID of the monster we want to fight, and that's how we're going to know which entry in the quest array to pass this to. So you can ignore the show debug messages. To be honest, let's just delete these actually. You might want to keep these in just to make sure it works, but you don't need to again. So we are up to here. So we're going to search the string and add each combination of digits to the correct entry in the array. We only want to check the string for as long as there are digits there. As soon as we come across another character, break the loop. That's not entirely true. We're going to break it if the character is not a number and not an underscore. So, as usual, we are going to use str to find the next character, whatever it is. Don't need this. And again, to remind us, odd is going to return the Unicode, and it's going to be between 30 and 39. So if it is a number, add it to the digit string. Otherwise, hopefully it's going to be an underscore. Well, it doesn't matter if it is or isn't, because if it's not an underscore, we're going to get an error message. So we should actually break out of it. There, that would be better. So if str is not a digit, check if it's an underscore. If it is, then we are going to see if we are trying to find monster type. So with quest array entry, this one is still at -1. Then we know that the numbers inside digit string are the monster type that we want to fight. Otherwise, if quest array entry is greater than -1, then we're going to start to fill in the blank quest, which is this line here. If this was mainly for testing, it should work without it, but it's worth keeping in, because if for any reason, if digit string is blank and we're trying to get the real of blank, it's going to crash the game. So it's worth keeping that in, just to stop your game crashing for whatever reason. So once that's done, then we want to increase the number of characters that we're going to remove after the for loop is done, which is what this does. So it's just basically the length, well, however many characters are inside digit string plus the underline. Incidentally, this is why we have an underline at the very end, because it's still going to check for one. It's still going to add one on here. So that's why we have that. It's not a mistake. It's intentionally there. And then quest array entry is going to be increased by 1 to go to the next entry. Digit string is going to be reset to blank. And we're going to check to see if we have filled in all the slots. If we have, then we're going to break out of this for loop. Okay, covered that. Cool. So let's minimize this. So after we've checked through the whole string, filled in all the array bits, we're going to check to see if there's an existing quest for this monster type. And if not, then we're going to add the quest to the quest manager. So simple way to find out if there's an ongoing quest, if the entry for number to kill is greater or equal to 0, then there's an ongoing quest. If it's less than 0, if it's -1, then there's no quest, and we can add all the entries from the blank quest into the quest manager array, which is what this for loop is going to do. And last of all, we're just going to delete the special characters and the numbers from text check, and that is it. We can test it now, but I like to have a visual display of what's going on when I do stuff like this. It's helpful for testing because you can identify issues that might not be readily apparent while you're playing the game. So inside the draw GUI event of our player, just minimize this, I've got a small testing region. So we only want to display this if talking is false. What this is going to do is it's going to draw the contents of the whole two-dimensional array from Quest Manager. So we need 2 lines for the for loop, 1 for the monsters and 1 for the entries for each monster. I don't think I need to explain XX and YY. We've done this loads of times. Value is just going to grab the value that's stored within the 2D array of Quest Manager, and we're going to draw the values like that. So now let's run the game to test it finally. So let's speak to this guy. These are just the show message lines. And the first number we passed it was a 2, which is because Demon Lord is the 3rd entry in the monster list, so it's the 3rd line down. Then the second number we passed it was a 1, which is that 1st entry you can see, because we want to kill 1 Demon Lord. Then we passed it a 2, because we want to change the story point to, let's go into init. Zero, 1, 2. We want to change it to Demon Lord is dead after the quest is complete. And then 5, because it was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Story dude who gave the quest, or story dude whose text we want to change, sorry. And then 3 and 3, because we want to change story dude's start and end point for the text to this one. So that's how the quest is going to work. I gave myself 100 HP because I keep dying when I'm trying to fight the Demon Lord. So let's try this again. Let's cast magic. Let's finish him off with a hit. Wow, he needs to die. Okay, so you can see all the entries in the array at the top left have gone to -1. That's because the Quest Manager has run this loop. It's discovered there was a quest. It's reduced number to kill for the Demon Lord by 1. That's then made this bit run. Everything should have updated, and then it reset the array to -1. So if we now go back to the village, speak to this guy, he'll say, so I guess you're a murderer now. Awesome. Okay, I have found 3 bugs that fixed. We're going to get to that in a minute. First of all, I'm going to show you an example of repeatable quests. So inside obj init, here, well, we're going to add a new ID called repeatable guy. Sorry, that was too fast. So here's repeatable guy in NPC IDs, or in the NPC region. Obviously, this is not new. This is not new. And we are adding this text here. So this is going to keep giving you the same quest over and over and over. Originally I had it set to 5 slimes, but it was taking too long to test, so I've changed it to 2. you've got to add the number of creatures to kill here as well as here. I don't think there's an easy way around that really. So anyway, when you first speak to him, he'll say this line, then this line, and that will start the quest. Here's the full line. It's using the exact same syntax for the Demon King, except this time we've got to kill 2 of them. And oh yeah, that was the other thing that I need to fix. At the moment, if you want to set -1 to anything, it's gonna cause an issue with the syntax. So for now, I'm just putting string global story instead of -1. It sounds okay, but imagine if you advance the story and then turn this quest in, it's gonna push the story back to an earlier time. So I don't think I'll have time to fix that before uploading this episode, so I'll get that done for next time. So anyway, once he gives you the quest, he'll be on this line. When you complete the quest, he'll be on this line, and he just gets pushed back to this again. So we're not trying to affect the story, we're just going to keep giving the player this quest over and over and over again. The only other thing we need to set this up is inside the village. Where is it? I think it's this guy. I created a new NPC and just gave him the repeatable guy ID, and if we test it, I'll show you quickly how it works, and then we'll get onto the bug fixes. So 2 slimes to kill, and we can see the first entry, 2 slimes to kill, and story point 0, blah de blah de blah. So let's get rid of this slime and get rid of this slime. Okay, cool. Speak to him, he gives us our money, and he'll give us a quest again. There we go. So that's an example of a repeatable quest. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do is we are going to fix 3 bugs. The first 2 are the game crashes if you talk to the Demon Lord while he's flashing. He's not being a dirty old man, he's just dying, that's all it is. And when talking to an NPC after a quest is complete, their text doesn't seem to be parsed. What I mean by that is the first line of text that comes up, we're not checking for symbols. That's the reason that it doesn't work. So if you tested the last thing I just showed you about repeatable quests, when you turn the quest in, you probably saw numbers and the symbol in his text. That's because it wasn't being parsed. So what I've mainly done is I've moved a bit of the talking stuff around. So let me just unlock all of it. So this line has been commented out because we don't want to set text straight away. I think just check. I'm pretty sure that's all I've modified here. So we're inside talking, disabled, pressed OK. If talking equals false, then that's what should be in there. And then I think this should still be the same. And then here, within the next message region, this bit I moved to here. So yeah, this is extra because it got moved from here. And I also, did I take this out? No, we don't need this. We don't need this if gold pressed OK because it's already been pressed here. So this is the if talking false region. Otherwise, if talking is true. So this global pressed OK is still running all the way down here. So we can just take this out. And hopefully I didn't mess it up, but There we go. I'm just going to open the whole thing. We didn't change any of this. It's just basically the order. So I'm just going to scroll down from top to bottom. That's a surefire way to make sure that you don't miss anything. Oops. Okie doke, and the last bug fix is in the menu. So this bug, basically you can still open the play menu while talking to someone. Again, if I did a state system, these kind of bugs wouldn't happen because we just have a moving state, a talking state. Anyway, so all we've done is we've added a check to see if talking is false. If it's true, then we can't open the menu, and that's it. Okay, so I think I will leave it there for today. That was quite a big feature to implement. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it. I will catch you next time. Bye for now.